The transport ship docked at Galactic Council Station Theta 7 with barely a sound. Tai-Ho Kim stepped out into the docking bay and looked around. The station was massive, bigger than any city he had seen on Earth. Lights flickered in colors humans had no names for. The air smelled strange, like metal and flowers mixed together. "Ambassador Kim, please stay close to me," Hannah Park said. She was young, maybe 25, and this was her first real assignment. She carried 3 data pads and kept checking them nervously. "The council chambers are on level 40. We have 30 minutes before the hearing starts." Tai-Ho nodded. He was 48 years old and looked ordinary. Gray suit, dark hair with some white at the temples, average height for a human, nothing special to look at. That was exactly how he wanted it. They walked through corridors filled with aliens. A Krillian passed by, its exoskeleton clicking with each step. 2 Phosians floated past, their energy bodies glowing soft blue. A group of Dulvex merchants argued in their strange language, their 4 eyes blinking in different patterns. None of them paid attention to the humans. "Are you nervous?" Hannah asked quietly. "No," Tai-Ho said. It was true. He had stopped feeling nervous a long time ago. 20 years in the military did that to a person. He had seen things that would make most people scream. He had done things he tried not to think about anymore. A room full of alien politicians did not scare him. They reached the council chambers. The doors were 10 meters tall, made of some kind of living crystal that pulsed with light. 2 guards stood on each side. They were Vrelians, tall and thin with purple skin and too many joints in their arms. "State your purpose," one guard said. His voice came out mechanical, translated by the device on his chest. "Ambassador Tai-Ho Kim of Earth, here for humanity's admission hearing," Tai-Ho said clearly. The guard looked at a screen. "You may enter. But know this, human. The Council does not like being interrupted with trivial matters. Your species should have waited another century before applying." Tai-Ho smiled slightly. "We'll see." The doors opened. The council chamber was circular and huge. 7 platforms floated in the air, arranged in a semicircle. Each platform held one of the elder species representatives. These were the 7 races that had formed the Galactic Council 3,000 years ago. They made all the rules. They decided who could join and who could not. In the center of the room was a small platform for visitors. It looked tiny compared to the council platforms. That was on purpose. It was meant to make visitors feel small and unimportant. Tai-Ho walked to the center platform. Hannah followed, her hands shaking slightly as she held the data pads. The doors closed behind them with a heavy sound. "The council recognizes the human delegation," a voice said. It came from everywhere at once. "You may present your species' request for admission." Tai-Ho looked up at the 7 platforms. He recognized each species from the files he had studied. The Harmonites were the oldest, over 10,000 years of recorded history. Counselor Vesh sat on the right platform, looking like a tree made of light. The Harmonites were known for being fair but slow to decide anything. The Vrelians held the platform to the left. Ambassador Kurix sat there, his long body coiled on an elevated seat. The Vrelians were aggressive and proud. They had the biggest military in the council. The other 5 species were there too, but Tai-Ho knew Kurix would be the problem. Vrelians hated humans. They thought Earth was too violent, too primitive, too dangerous. "Counselors," Tai-Ho began, "humanity comes before you with respect and hope. We have achieved interstellar travel. We have established peaceful colonies on 12 worlds. We have ended all wars on our home planet. We believe we are ready to join the galactic community." "Ended all wars?" Kurix's voice cut through the chamber like a knife. "You humans were killing each other just 50 years ago. You nearly destroyed your own planet with atomic weapons. You call that peace?" We call that growth, Taiho replied calmly. Every species in this council had a violent past. The Vrelians fought the substrate wars for 2 centuries. The Krillians, how dare you? Kurix rose from his seat, his body uncoiled, making him 3 meters tall. You compare us to your savage species? We evolved past violence millennia ago. With respect, Ambassador Kurix, your own military attacked the fringe colonies just 10 years. Kurix moved fast, his arm extended, stretching across the distance between them. It was a bioenergetic appendage, part flesh and part energy. It hit Taiho across the face with a crack that echoed through the chamber. Taiho's head snapped to the side. He stumbled back 1 step. Blood ran from his lip, down his chin, and dripped onto his gray suit. Hana gasped. Ambassador! The chamber went silent, completely silent. Even the other counselors seemed shocked. Taiho stood up straight. He did not touch his face. He did not wipe the blood away. He just looked at Kurix with calm, dark eyes. In galactic law, Taiho said quietly, striking a diplomat is an act of war, but I am reasonable. I will give you a chance to apologize. Kurix laughed. It was a wet, gurgling sound. Apologize? To a human? You should be grateful I did not do worse, primitive creature. Your species has no place here. You are barely better than animals. The other counselors watched. None of them spoke. This was interesting to them. They wanted to see what the human would do. Taiho wiped his mouth with his hand. The blood smeared across his palm. He looked at it for a moment, then looked back at Kurix. You have 5 seconds to apologize, Taiho said. His voice was very quiet now, very calm. It was the voice of a man who had said these words before, in different languages, on different worlds. Or what? Kurix spread his arms wide. The other counselors were smiling now. Some of them made sounds that might have been laughter. What will you do, little human? Strike me back. Your species is weak. You know nothing of true power. Taiho's expression did not change at all. Blood still dripped from his chin. His suit was ruined, but his eyes were steady. 4, he said. More laughter from the council platforms. Kurix turned to the other counselors, gesturing with his long arms as if sharing a joke. 3. Hana put down the data pads. Her hands went to a device on her belt. She pressed something. A signal. Perhaps. A warning. 2. Kurix turned back to Taiho. This is pathetic. Humans counting like children. This is why you will never... 1. The chamber waited. Kurix smiled, showing teeth that were meant for tearing meat. 0, Taiho said. Then he moved. It happened so fast that most of the counselors could not track it. One moment, Taiho was standing in the center platform, bleeding and still. The next moment he was behind Kurix, and Kurix's bioenergetic arm was on the floor, separated from his body. Kurix screamed. It was a high-pitched sound that hurt to hear. Taiho stood there holding something small and sharp in his hand. It was a knife, barely 10 centimeters long. Where had it come from? His suit had seemed empty before. You had 5 seconds, Taiho said. You made your choice. Alarms started blaring throughout the station. Red lights flashed. The chamber doors burst open and security drones flew in, followed by guards from 6 different species. Hana stepped forward calmly and pulled out a data pad. She began reading in a clear voice. Ambassador Taiho Kim, former Colonel Kim, Terran Special Operations Command. Military record, 847 confirmed eliminations across 14 combat zones. Psychological evaluation, extreme combat effectiveness with 0 emotional variance. Retired from active service after single-handedly ending the Mars insurrection of 2187. The security forces stopped. They looked at each other, then at Taiho, then at Kurix, who was bleeding on the floor. Humanity sent me, Taiho said, because I understand violence. We hoped you understood diplomacy. He dropped the knife. It clattered on the floor. We were wrong. 30 security guards surrounded the center platform. They came from different species, each one trained in combat, their weapons charged with energy that hummed in the air. The lead guard, a massive Krillian with armor plating on his exoskeleton, pointed a plasma rifle at Taiho. "On your knees, human," the Krillian commanded. "You are under arrest for assaulting a council member." Taiho did not move. He stood there with blood on his face and looked at the guards like they were children playing soldier. "I defended myself against an unprovoked attack. Galactic law is clear on this matter." "Law?" Korix shouted from his platform. Medical drones were already working on his severed arm, spraying foam that sealed the wound. "You dare speak of law? You attacked me!" "After you struck first," Taiho said calmly. "I have witnesses. The entire council saw it." Counselor Vesh, the Harmonite, finally spoke. His voice was like wind through leaves. "This is true. Korix did strike first. However, the human's response was extreme. Appropriate," Taiho corrected. "In human culture, if someone strikes you without cause, you have the right to respond. I was merciful. I could have taken his head instead of his arm." The other counselors made sounds of shock. Even Vesh seemed disturbed by the casual way Taiho spoke about killing. The chamber doors opened again. 3 more humans entered. They walked with purpose, not hurrying but not slow either. The first was Day Choi. He was tall and broad-shouldered, wearing a military uniform with insignias that marked him as high-ranking. His hand rested on a weapon at his hip. The second was Yuna Song. She was small, thin, with short hair and glasses that glowed with data. She carried a handheld computer and was already typing on it as she walked. The third was Quan Li. He wore medical whites and carried a large case. His face was calm, but his eyes moved quickly, assessing everyone in the room. They joined Taiho on the center platform, forming a protective formation around him. "Ambassador Kim," Dai said formally, "are you injured?" "Nothing serious," Taiho replied. Quan opened his medical case anyway and pulled out a device that scanned Taiho's face. "Minor laceration, mild concussion, no permanent damage." He sprayed something on Taiho's lip, and the bleeding stopped immediately. Yuna looked up from her computer. "I have recorded everything that happened here. The assault on Ambassador Kim, his measured response. All of it is being broadcast right now to every human colony and every ally we have in this sector." "Broadcast?" one of the counselors sputtered. "You have no authorization." "We don't need authorization," Yuna said simply. "You made this public when you allowed it to happen in an open council session. We are just making sure everyone sees the truth." The Krillian guard leader moved forward. "Enough talking. You will all surrender now, or we will use force." Day smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "You are welcome to try." "This is insane!" Korix screamed. "They are threatening the council. This is an act of war." "No," Taiho said. "An act of war is what you did, striking a diplomat. If we wanted war, Korix, you would already be dead. But we don't want war. We never did. We came here for peace." "Then why send a killer?" Vesh asked quietly. Taiho turned to look at the Harmonite. For the first time, something like emotion showed on his face. Sadness, maybe. Or regret. "Because we needed someone who understands what peace costs," Taiho said. "I have killed 847 beings. Each one of them haunts me. I remember every face, every name, when I knew it. I stopped counting the ones I killed in war because there were too many. So yes, I am a killer. But that is exactly why I want peace more than anyone else in this room." The chamber was quiet. Even the alarms had stopped. "I have seen what humans can do when we fight," Taiho continued. "I have seen cities burn. I have seen children starve because their parents were too busy killing each other. I have watched good people turn into monsters because war does that. It changes you. It breaks you. And I swore, after Mars, that I would never let it happen again if I could stop it. He gestured to the council. You have had peace for so long that you forgot what it looks like to earn it. You think peace is natural, that it just happens when species become advanced enough. But it doesn't. Peace is a choice, a hard choice. Every single day you choose peace over violence, and humans have finally learned to make that choice. Beautiful words, Kurix hissed. But words mean nothing. You are violent by nature. You cannot change that. Watch me, Taiho said. The Krillian guard leader raised his rifle. Last warning, surrender or... He never finished. Day moved. One moment he was standing still. The next moment he had disarmed the Krillian and put him on the ground. The rifle clattered away, spinning across the floor. The other guards opened fire. What happened next would be studied by military academies across the galaxy for decades. Taiho moved into the crowd of guards like water flowing downhill. Every movement was precise, minimal. There was no wasted energy. He struck at joints, at weak points, at places where alien biology made them vulnerable. A Phosian energy being tried to envelope him. Taiho pulled out a small device and activated it. The Phosian screamed and collapsed, his energy matrix disrupted. Two Dulvex guards attacked from opposite sides, using their four-dimensional perception to predict his moves. Taiho did something they could not predict. He did something random. He dove left when the smart move was right. He struck high when low made more sense. The Dulvex guards stumbled into each other, confused. Day fought alongside him, protecting Taiho's blind spots. Quan had pulled Hana back to safety and was treating wounded guards, not letting them die, just keeping them down. Yuna stood in the center, still typing on her computer, completely calm. Around her, chaos. But she did not look up. She was doing something else, something important. Station security is locked out, Yuna announced. I control all systems now. Impossible, one of the counselors shouted. Our security is the best in the galaxy. No, Yuna said, pushing her glasses up. It was the best. 10 years ago, humans learn fast. We have been studying your systems since first contact. Every vulnerability, every backdoor, every weakness. We know your technology better than you do now. More guards poured into the chamber. 20, 30, 50. It did not matter. Taiho and Day moved through them like they were made of paper. Stop this! Vesh's voice boomed through the chamber, amplified by some power that made the walls shake. Everyone stop! Taiho paused. A guard was in his grip, about to be thrown. Taiho set him down gently instead and stepped back. Day lowered his fists. Quan stopped treating injured guards. Yuna looked up from her computer. The chamber floor was covered with groaning, injured guards. Not one of them was dead. Every injury was precise. Broken limbs, dislocated joints, neural disruptions that would heal. But none of them were bleeding out. None of them would die. You see? Taiho said, breathing only slightly harder than before. We don't want to kill. We could have, easily, but we didn't. He walked back to the center platform, stepping over groaning guards. His suit was torn now, more blood on his clothes, though most of it was not his own. Humanity has learned something the rest of you forgot, Taiho said to the council. Violence is a tool, just a tool. It is not good or evil. What matters is how you use it. We use it to defend, to protect, to establish boundaries. But we do not use it to conquer anymore. We grew past that. Kurix made a choking sound. You are monsters. No, Taiho said sadly. We were monsters. Now we are just people who remember what being monsters felt like. And we do not want to go back. Vesh leaned forward on his platform. The light that made up his body pulsed with colors that might have been curiosity or fear. What do you want, Ambassador Kim? Vesh asked. What we came for, Taiho said. Respect. Admission to the council. A chance to prove that humanity has changed. That is all we ever wanted. And if we refuse? Taiho looked at all 7 council members. His eyes were hard now. The sadness was gone. Then we leave. We build our own council. We find species who will work with us, and you will have rivals who learned warfare by fighting each other for thousands of years. Rivals who know every trick, every strategy, every way to hurt and kill and destroy. He paused. But we really, really hope it does not come to that. The council members looked at each other. Silent conversations happened through methods humans could not see. Finally, Vesh spoke again. We will consider your application, but this incident will be reported accurately, Yuna interrupted. She held up her computer. Everything is already recorded. The attack on our ambassador, our measured response, all of it. Millions of beings across the galaxy have seen it by now. You cannot hide what happened here. We do not hide from truth, Vesh said with dignity. But we also cannot ignore violence in our chambers. Then do not ignore who started it, Taiho said quietly. The medical drones had finished treating Kurix. The Vrelian ambassador looked smaller now, diminished. His arm was gone, replaced with a temporary prosthetic. This is not over, human, Kurix said, but his voice lacked conviction. Yes, it is, Taiho replied. It is over because I am choosing to let it be over. Remember that. The council chambers had become a disaster zone. Injured guards lay everywhere. Medical teams rushed in to help them. The smell of burned ozone and alien blood filled the air. Emergency lights flashed red and yellow. Taiho stood in the center of it all, completely calm. His suit was ruined. Blood, both his and others, stained the fabric. But his eyes were clear, alert, ready. We should go, Hana said quietly. She had retrieved the data pads and held them close to her chest. Her hands had stopped shaking. Seeing Taiho fight had changed something in her. She understood now why Earth had sent him. Not yet, Taiho said. Ambassador, we have made our point, Day said. He was checking his weapon, making sure it was still functional. We should evacuate before they bring real military forces. They already are, Yuna said, looking at her computer screen. I am tracking 3 warships changing course toward this station. ETA, 40 minutes. Quan finished treating the last injured guard and closed his medical case. We have about 30 people here who need surgery. I have stabilized them, but they need real hospitals. Some of them might not make it if we do not get them help soon. Taiho looked at the wounded guards scattered across the chamber floor. These soldiers had just tried to kill him, but they were following orders, doing their jobs. They did not deserve to die because their leaders were foolish. Yuna, can you contact the station's main medical center? Taiho asked. Already done, Yuna replied without looking up. Medical teams are on their way. I have also sent them all the scan data Quan collected. They will be prepared when they arrive. One of the council members, a Krillian named Thex, spoke up. You helped those who tried to kill you? Yes, Taiho said simply. They were doing their duty. I do not blame them for following orders. Besides, I said we do not want to kill. I meant it. But you could have killed them all, Thex said. It was not a question. Yes, Taiho agreed. In about 40 seconds, if I wanted to. Maybe 30 if Day helped. The council chamber doors opened again. This time it was not guards who entered. It was the station commander, Admiral Grix of the Phosian people. He was a being of pure energy, contained in a specialized field. His form glowed bright white, pulsing with anger. What is the meaning of this? Grix demanded. My station is in chaos. You have assaulted council guards. You have hacked our systems. This is an act of war. No, Vesh said, before Taiho could respond. The Harmonite elder had been silent since the fighting stopped. This was provoked. We all saw it. Kurix struck first. Irrelevant, Grix snapped. The humans' response was excessive, disproportionate. Taiho tilted his head slightly. Disproportionate? I disabled your guards without killing any of them. I could have destroyed this entire station by now if I wanted to be disproportionate. Arrogance! Grix's form flared brighter. You think you could destroy a council station? We have weapons that could vaporize your entire species. Probably, Taiho admitted. But you would have to find Earth first, and good luck with that. Yuna smiled slightly, still typing. Earth's location is classified. We have 12 colony worlds and none of them are near Earth. We have outposts in 40 systems. Most of them are hidden. You could search for 100 years and never find our home world. We have your ship's navigation data, Grix said. We can track where you came from. No, you cannot, Yuna replied. I deleted it, and encrypted everything else. Your best computers would take 10,000 years to crack human encryption. We learned from watching your species make mistakes. Admiral Grix seemed about to explode. Literally, his energy form was pulsing erratically. Admiral, Quan said calmly, you should regulate your matrix. Your quantum coherence is destabilizing. If you are not careful, you will dissipate. Grix paused, looked down at himself. Quan was right. The Admiral forced himself to calm down, and his glow returned to normal. How did you know that? Grix asked quietly. We study everything, Quan said. Fusion biology, energy being physiology. Your people are fascinating. Did you know that your species has a genetic marker that makes you susceptible to theta wave disruption? We discovered it while treating Fusion refugees who came to Earth. Refugees? Grix said. We have no refugees. You do now, Day said. About 3,000 of them. They came to Earth asking for asylum. Your government did not want them because they were political dissidents. We took them in, gave them homes. They are happy there. This was news to the council. Several members began talking at once. You have Fusion citizens on Earth? One counselor demanded. And Krillians, Yuna added, and Dulvex, and members of 15 other species. People who were rejected by their own worlds, criminals, outcasts, refugees. Earth takes them all. We believe everyone deserves a second chance. This is madness, Korix muttered from his platform. Humans allowing aliens to live among them? You will be infiltrated, destroyed from within. Taiho laughed. Actually laughed. It was a dry, bitter sound. You think we are afraid of infiltration? Humans have been betraying each other since we learned to talk. We have spies, assassins, entire organizations dedicated to deception. We know how it works, and we know how to defend against it. He walked closer to the council platforms. Guards tried to move in his way, but Grix waved them off. Let me tell you something about humans, Taiho said. We are paranoid, suspicious. We trust no one completely. Earth has 300 intelligence agencies. Every nation, every corporation, every major organization has spies watching other spies. We assume everyone is lying to us, because usually they are. That sounds terrible, Vesh said quietly. It is, Taiho agreed. But it also makes us very hard to fool. When your species live in peace for thousands of years, you forget to watch your backs. You forget that danger exists. Humans never forget. We see threats everywhere because threats are everywhere. Hana stepped forward with one of her data pads. May I present evidence to the council? Vesh nodded. Proceed. Hana's datapad projected a hologram into the air. It showed a star map, hundreds of systems, thousands of trade routes. This is council space, Hana said, as you know it. She pressed something, and the map changed. New routes appeared, hidden stations, secret military bases, unmarked planets. This is council space as humans know it, Hana continued. We have been observing you for 20 years, not through spies, not through hacking, just watching. We have telescopes, sensors, math. We track every ship that moves through your space. We analyze every transmission. We built a complete map of your civilization just by paying attention." The council members stared at the map in silence. "You see," Hana said, "humans are very good at finding patterns. It is how we survived on Earth. Watch the animals, track the weather, predict where food will be. We apply those same skills to space, and we learned everything about you." Yuna took over. "We know your military strength, your economic output, your political factions. We know which council members are corrupt, which ones take bribes, which ones are about to be overthrown. We know everything." "Impossible," Admiral Grix said, but his voice was weak. That would require—" "Resources?" Yuna finished. "We have them. Personnel? Earth has 8 billion people. Many of them are scientists, analysts, mathematicians. Time? We have been watching you for 20 years. That is a long time when you are as focused as humans can be." She closed her computer and looked up at the council. "We did not do this to threaten you. We did it to protect ourselves. Because we learned a long time ago that knowledge is the best weapon. Better than guns. Better than bombs. If you understand your enemy, you can defeat them without fighting." "We are not your enemy," Vesh said. "No," Taiho agreed. "You are not, but you could be. So we prepared, just in case." A new hologram appeared in the chamber. This one showed a ship. No, many ships, 50 of them, floating in space near the station. "That is Earth's first fleet," Day said. "They arrived 10 minutes ago. Admiral Minho Bai is in command. He has orders to protect us if negotiations fail." The council members looked at the ships. They were smaller than council warships, sleeker. They looked almost harmless. "Only 50 ships?" Kurix said, recovering some of his arrogance. "We have thousands. You think 50 human ships can threaten us?" Day smiled. "Shall we demonstrate?" Before anyone could respond, Yuna typed something. The hologram changed. One of the human ships powered up weapons. It fired a single shot. A piece of space debris, an old, abandoned satellite, simply vanished, gone, not destroyed, erased. "What was that?" Admiral Grix demanded. "Plasma lance," Day said casually. "Projects a beam of contained fusion, temperature 30 million degrees, duration 0.001 seconds. The debris did not have time to explode. It just stopped existing." "Every ship in our fleet has 12 of those weapons," Yuna added, "plus railguns that fire at 0.3% of light speed, plus missiles with warheads that humans are not going to explain because we would like to keep some secrets." She looked up at the council. "Each human ship can destroy a planet, not damage it. Destroy it. Make it uninhabitable. We built weapons like this because on Earth we built weapons like this to use on ourselves. And then we decided not to." "But we remember how." The council chamber was silent. Even the injured guards had stopped groaning. Everyone was staring at the hologram. "You are monsters," Kurix whispered. "Yes," Taiho said quietly. "We are. But we are monsters who chose to stop being monstrous. That is the difference. You were never monsters. You do not understand what it takes to stop. We do." He looked at each council member. "So here is our offer. Accept us. Let us join your council. Let us bring our paranoia, our violence, our terrible knowledge of warfare, and we will use all of it to protect you, because that is what humans do. We protect those we call friends, with everything we have." 3 hours later, the council reconvened in emergency session. The wounded had been taken to medical facilities. The chamber had been cleaned, but the tension remained. It hung in the air like smoke. Taiho had changed into a fresh suit. This one was black instead of gray. He looked presentable again, professional, like the violence had never happened. But everyone in the chamber knew what he could do now. Hana stood beside him, nervous again. Day, Yuna, and Quan had taken positions around the room. not threatening, just present, a reminder. The 7 council members sat on their platforms. They had been arguing for 3 hours. Humans could hear pieces of it through the walls, shouting, accusations, threats. Now they were ready to deliver their decision. "The council has deliberated," Vesh began. His voice was formal, careful. "What happened here today was unprecedented. An assault on a diplomat, a violent response, a display of military might. These things do not happen in council space. We have maintained peace for 3,000 years. Because you forgot what the alternative looks like," Tai-Ho said. "Perhaps," Vesh admitted, "but that peace has value. It has allowed civilizations to grow, to prosper, to reach heights that war-torn species never achieve." "We are not war-torn anymore," Tai-Ho said. "We learned. We changed." "Did you?" Kurix demanded. His temporary prosthetic arm moved stiffly as he gestured. "You came here and brought violence with you. You destroyed our guards. You threatened us." "After you struck first," Tai-Ho reminded him. "I gave you 5 seconds to apologize. You chose not to. Actions have consequences." "The human is correct," Counselor Thex said. The Krillian had been quiet until now. "Our own laws are clear. Striking a diplomat is an act of war. Kurix violated those laws. The human's response, while extreme, was legally justified." "Legally, perhaps," another counselor said. "This was Vorsh of the Dulvex. But morally, he could have simply left, filed a complaint, allowed the system to work." "And what would your system have done?" Hana asked. "Issued a statement? Given Kurix a fine? Meanwhile, humans would be seen as weak, easy to abuse. Every species in the galaxy would think they could strike our diplomats without consequence." "So you respond with overwhelming force?" Vorsh said. "That is barbaric." "No," Day interjected. "That is setting boundaries. Clear, unmistakable boundaries. Now everyone knows. You cannot touch a human diplomat without serious consequences. That knowledge prevents future violence. It creates peace." Yuna was typing on her computer again. Always typing. "I have data to support that," she said. "Human crime rates dropped 70% after we established strict punishment systems. Not because we punished more people, because potential criminals knew the consequences were certain and immediate. Deterrence works." "You compare council members to criminals?" Admiral Grick said from where he stood near his platform. "If they act like criminals, yes," Yuna replied without hesitation. "Kurix assaulted a diplomat. That is a crime. Should he not face consequences?" The council members looked at each other uncomfortably. "The issue," Vesh said slowly, "is not whether Kurix should face consequences. He will. The issue is whether humanity is fit to join the council. You have demonstrated power, but power alone does not make a civilization worthy of membership." "What does?" Tai-Ho asked. "Wisdom, restraint, the ability to resolve conflicts without violence." "We tried that," Tai-Ho said. "I came here with words, with respect, with hope. I was struck in the face for my trouble. We did not want to use violence, but we will not allow ourselves to be abused either." He stepped forward. "You keep saying you want peace, but you do not seem to understand what peace actually requires. Peace is not the absence of violence. Peace is what happens when everyone knows that violence is too costly, when everyone understands that attacking others will bring consequences they cannot afford." "That is a cynical view," Vesh said. "That is a realistic view," Tai-Ho countered. "How many wars did the Council fight before it was formed? How many species killed each other before you all sat down and agreed to stop?" Silence. The answer was in the history books. Millions of deaths. Entire worlds destroyed. The Council was born from blood, just like human peace had been. "You are not so different from us," Tai-Ho continued. "You just have shorter memories. 3,000 years feels like forever to you, But to us, that is only 60 human generations. We still remember our wars. We still teach our children about them. We make them learn the names of the dead, not to glorify war, but to remember why we must never fight like that again. Hannah pulled up a new hologram. This one showed Earth. Specifically, it showed memorial sites, vast fields of white markers, each one a person who died in war. Every nation on Earth has memorials like this, Hannah said. Millions of them. We visit them, we teach children there, we make sure no one forgets. Because forgetting is dangerous. If you forget what war costs, you might be willing to start one again. Quan spoke for the first time. I am a doctor. I treat people, save lives. It is what I was trained to do. But I also know how to kill efficiently. Every human doctor does. We learn it as part of our training, not because we want to kill, but because understanding death helps us prevent it. He looked at the council members. That is what humans are. We understand violence so well that we can choose to avoid it. But we will never be helpless, never be victims. If someone forces us to fight, we will win, and then we will heal the wounded, ours and theirs, because that is who we are now. Admiral Grix floated forward slightly. Your fleet, he said. The ship's outside. How many more do you have? Day smiled. That is classified. Estimate then. More than you would be comfortable knowing about. Yuna closed her computer with a click. Actually, we can share some information. Earth has 5 fleets. The first fleet is here. The second fleet guards Earth. The third fleet patrols our colony worlds. The fourth and fifth fleets are classified. Their locations and assignments are secret even to most humans. Why tell us this? Thex asked. Because honesty builds trust, Yuna said. We could lie. We could pretend to be weaker than we are. But that would not serve peace. Better for you to know our strength and choose to work with us than to underestimate us and make mistakes. She pulled up more data. Here are our industrial numbers. Ship production, resource extraction, population growth, all of it. We are sharing this freely. Because partners trust each other with information. The council members studied the data. Some of them looked shocked. Humans had been busy for the last 20 years. Very busy. You built all this in 2 decades? Vorsh said. That is impossible. Humans are very motivated when we commit to something, Hannah said. We decided we wanted to reach the stars. So we did. We decided we wanted to be strong enough to defend ourselves. So we became strong. Whatever we focus on, we achieve. That is the human way. But at what cost? Vesh asked. This level of industrial output must damage your worlds, pollute them. We learned from that mistake too, Quan said. Earth was dying 100 years ago. Pollution, climate change. We were destroying our own planet, so we fixed it, developed new technologies, clean energy, sustainable resources. Now Earth is healthier than it has been in centuries, because we learned that strength without sustainability is suicide. Taiho watched the council members process all this information. They were beginning to understand. Humanity was not just another species asking to join their club. Humanity was a force that would reshape the galaxy, whether the council accepted them or not. Let me make something clear, Taiho said. We do not need the council. We wanted to join because cooperation is better than competition, because working together creates better outcomes than working alone. But if you refuse us, we will survive. We will thrive. We will build our own alliances with species who see value in working with humans. Is that a threat? Korix demanded. No, Taiho said. It is a prediction, a fact. Humans are here. We are not going away. You can either accept that and benefit from it, or reject us and regret it. Your choice. Vesh raised one branch-like appendage. If we accept you, what guarantees can you give? How do we know you will not use your strength to dominate others? Because we have already done that, Taiho said simply. On Earth, we had empires, conquerors, nations that ruled others, and every single one of those empires fell. Every conqueror died. Every attempt to dominate others failed eventually. We learned that lesson in blood and fire. Dominance is temporary, partnership is permanent. He looked at each council member. We are offering you something valuable: human strength, human intelligence, human determination. In exchange, we ask for respect, equality, a seat at the table where decisions are made. That is all. And if we deny you? Admiral Grix asked. Then we leave, Taiho said. No violence, no threats. We simply leave and build our own path. But understand this. Other species are watching what happens here. They see how you treat us. If you reject humanity after we came in peace, after we followed your laws, after we showed restraint even when attacked, what does that tell them? He let that question hang in the air. It tells them the Council is afraid, Yuna said. Afraid of change, afraid of new ideas, afraid of species who might be stronger than you. And fear is a terrible foundation for peace. The council members were silent for a long time. Finally, Vesh spoke. We will vote. Each council member will cast their decision. Humanity's admission requires 5 votes, no abstentions. Understood, Taiho said. The vote was electronic and instant. Results appeared on a holographic screen. Vesh, yes. Thex, yes. Vorsh, yes. Grix, no. Kurix, no. 2 votes remained. The species that had not yet declared were the silicates and the harmoniums. Neither had spoken much during the proceedings. The silicate representative, a being of living crystal, finally spoke. Its voice was like grinding stones. Humanity is dangerous, but danger has its uses. Yes. 4, yes. 2, no. 1 vote left. The harmonium delegate was a colony organism, thousands of small creatures working as one. Its voice was many voices speaking together. We have observed humanity through this crisis. We saw violence, yes, but also mercy. Strength, yes, but also healing. Confidence, yes, but also honesty. We vote, yes. 5, yes. 2, no. Humanity was in. 1 week later, Station Theta 7 looked different. Repair crews had fixed the damaged areas. The council chambers had been restored. But the atmosphere had changed. There was a new respect in the air, and a new wariness. Taiho stood in a private meeting room, looking out at the stars. His bags were packed. His mission here was complete. Soon he would go home to Earth, and someone else would take his place. The door opened. Counselor Vesh entered. His light body dimmed to a comfortable level for human eyes. Ambassador Kim, Vesh said, I wanted to speak with you before you left. Of course, Taiho said. He gestured to chairs, though Vesh did not need one. They stood together by the window. I voted for humanity from the beginning, Vesh said, even before you arrived. Do you know why? No. Because we needed something to shake us awake, Vesh explained. The council has been comfortable for too long. Safe. We make decisions slowly because we have forgotten that the universe can be dangerous, that choices have real consequences, that peace must be maintained, not just assumed. He turned his light toward Taiho. But I did not expect someone like you. When Earth said they were sending a diplomat, I expected a politician, someone who talks well, makes compromises, avoids conflict. I can do those things, Taiho said, when they work. But sometimes they don't work. Sometimes people only respect strength. You could have destroyed this station, Vesh said quietly. You and your team, I have seen the analysis. With your skills and human weapons, you could have killed everyone here and escaped. Yes, Taiho admitted. But that would make us monsters again. We are trying very hard not to be monsters. Why did Earth send you, really? Vesh asked. A killer as a diplomat. It seems contradictory. Taiho was quiet for a moment. He looked out at the stars, remembering things he wished he could forget. "Because I am proof," he finally said. "Proof that humans can change. I was a soldier. I followed orders. I killed people because my government said they were enemies. I was good at it. Too good. And then one day I looked at what I had become and I hated myself." He turned to face Vesh. "The Mars insurrection was a civil war. Humans killing humans. I led the attack that ended it. We won. But the cost..." He shook his head. "After it was over, I went to the memorial. I read the names. Thousands of them. People I had killed. People my soldiers had killed. All of them human. All of them dead because we could not find a better way." "So you became a diplomat," Vesh said. "So I tried to become something better than what I was," Taiho corrected. "If I can change, any human can change. If I can choose peace over violence, humanity can choose peace over violence. That is why they sent me, to show you that we are serious about this." "And if Kurix had killed you?" Vesh asked. "If his first strike had been fatal?" Taiho smiled slightly. "Then Day would have killed him, and the war would have started. But I did not think Kurix would kill me. He wanted to humiliate me, to make me look weak. That was his mistake." "You planned for this," Vesh realized. "You knew someone would attack you." "I suspected it was possible," Taiho said. "Humans have a saying, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. I hoped the Council would accept us peacefully, but I prepared for the possibility that they would not. That is what humans do. We always have a backup plan." The door opened again. Hana entered, carrying a data pad. "Ambassador, your transport is ready, and Ambassador Suji is waiting to meet you." "Ambassador Suji?" Vesh asked. "My replacement," Taiho explained. "I was never meant to stay. I was just here to open the door, to establish that humans cannot be pushed around. Now that the door is open, a real diplomat will do the actual work of diplomacy." They walked together through the station corridors. Aliens stopped to stare at Taiho, some with fear, some with respect. A few with admiration. Everyone knew who he was now. The human who fought an entire security force and won. The human who made the Council accept Earth. In the main docking bay, a woman waited by a human transport ship. She was older than Taiho, maybe 60, with gray hair and kind eyes. She wore a formal diplomatic uniform covered in ribbons and medals. "Ambassador Kim," she said, extending her hand. "I am Suji Han. It is an honor to meet you." They shook hands. Taiho could feel calluses on her palm. This was not a soft politician. This was someone who had worked hard for everything she achieved. "The honor is mine, Ambassador Han," Taiho said. "I have read your file. 20 years in the diplomatic corps, successfully negotiated 32 treaties on Earth, fluent in 18 languages, including 5 alien ones." 16 alien languages now, Suji corrected with a smile. "I learned 2 more on the way here. The Council uses fascinating linguistic structures." They walked together toward the ship. Vesh followed, curious. "I am leaving you with a difficult situation," Taiho said. "The Council is afraid of us now. Some of them hate us. Your job will be to turn that fear into respect, that hate into cooperation." "I know," Suji said. "That is why they sent me. You break down walls, I build bridges. We make a good team, even if we never work in the same place." At the ship's entrance, Taiho paused and turned to Vesh. "Take care of her. Ambassador Han is a real diplomat. She is not a fighter like me. If anyone harms her, humanity will consider it an act of war. And we will respond with everything we have." "Understood," Vesh said. "She will be safe. You have my word." "Good." Taiho looked at Suji. "Good luck, Ambassador. Show them what humans can really do when we are not being attacked." "I will," Suji promised. "You showed them our strength. I will show them our wisdom. Taiho boarded the ship. Hana, Dai, Yuna, and Quan were already aboard, waiting for him. As the doors closed, he took one last look at the station. "Think they will be okay?" Day asked. "Yes," Taiho said. "We did our job. The hard part is over." The ship detached and began its journey back to Earth. Inside, Taiho finally allowed himself to relax. The tension left his shoulders. The cold, calculating expression faded from his face. He looked tired, human. "Did we do the right thing?" Hana asked quietly. "All that violence, the fear we created." "We did what was necessary," Taiho said. "Sometimes peace requires a show of strength. Sometimes the only way to stop a fight is to prove you can win it. I do not like it, but it works." Back on the station, Ambassador Suji began her work. She met with council members individually, learned their concerns, addressed their fears. She was patient, diplomatic, charming, everything Taiho was not. Within a month, trade agreements were signed, cultural exchanges began, human scientists started working with alien researchers. Slowly, the fear turned into curiosity, but no one forgot what Taiho had done. The story spread across the galaxy. The human diplomat who fought an entire security force, who stood against the council and won, who proved that humanity was not to be trifled with. Other species took notice. Some sent diplomats to Earth seeking alliances. Others kept their distance, wary of these new powerful beings. But all of them respected humanity now. On Earth, in a small apartment in Seoul, Taiho tried to return to normal life. But normal was difficult for someone like him. He had nightmares, flashbacks. The faces of the people he had killed haunted him. One day, his doorbell rang. He opened it to find a young man standing there. The man wore a military uniform. "Colonel Kim," the man said, "I am Lieutenant Ji-won Park. I was assigned to your unit on Mars. I wanted to thank you." "Thank me?" Taiho said, confused. "For what?" "For ending the war," Ji-won said. "My brother was fighting for the other side. When you ended it, you saved his life. He is alive today because you chose to stop the killing as quickly as possible, even when people criticized you for being too brutal." Taiho did not know what to say. He had never thought about it that way. He had always focused on the people he killed, not the people he saved by ending the war quickly. "I just did my job," Taiho finally said. "No," Ji-won said. "You did more than that. You made hard choices so others would not have to. That is what heroes do." After Ji-won left, Taiho sat in his apartment for a long time, thinking. Maybe he was not just a killer. Maybe he was also a protector. Maybe there was a difference. Across the galaxy, a new era was beginning. Humans joined the council as full members. They brought new ideas, new technologies, new perspectives on old problems. And when disputes arose, when violence threatened, the council remembered Ambassador Taiho Kim. They remembered what humanity was capable of when pushed, and they chose to negotiate instead, because that was the real lesson. Not that humans were strong, many species were strong, but that humans were strong and chose peace anyway. That was what made them dangerous. That was what made them valuable. In a hidden facility on Earth, Director Narration closed a file labeled Project Deterrent. Inside were profiles of other humans like Taiho, soldiers who had become diplomats, killers who chose peace, warriors who understood the cost of war so well that they would do anything to prevent it. "How many do we have now?" her assistant, Bora, asked. 57, Nari said. "Enough to send to every major council world. Enough to make sure humanity is never disrespected again." "Is that wise?" Bora asked. "Sending soldiers as diplomats?" "They are not soldiers anymore," Nari said. "They are proof. Proof that violence is a choice, not a destiny. Proof that even the most dangerous humans can choose peace." She smiled. and proof that anyone who attacks a human diplomat will regret it very, very much. On Station Theta 7, Ambassador Suji stood in the council chambers, presenting a proposal for joint human-alien research into medical technology. The council members listened respectfully, asked thoughtful questions. No one interrupted her. No one mocked humanity. Councillor Vesh watched from his platform and felt something like pride. The council had been stagnant for too long. Humans were shaking things up, making them think differently. Challenging old assumptions. It was uncomfortable, but it was necessary. After the meeting, Vesh approached Suji. "Your people are remarkable," he said. "Frightening, but remarkable." "We are just people," Suji said. "People who have seen the worst of ourselves and decided to be better. That is all." "That is everything," Vesh corrected. And somewhere in space, traveling back to Earth, Taiho looked out at the stars and smiled. He had been a soldier, a killer, a weapon. But now he was something else. He was a bridge between war and peace, between strength and wisdom. He was proof that humanity had changed, and the galaxy would never be the same.